Now give the floor to His Excellency Badr Ahmed Mohammed Abdelati, Minister for Foreign Affairs, Immigration and Egyptian expatriates of Egypt.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim.
In the name of God, most compassionate, most merciful, Your Highness Prince Faisal bin Farhan, Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Your Excellency John Noel Barrot, the Minister of Foreign Affairs of the French Republic, Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, allow me to express my appreciation to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and to the French Republic for convening this conference, which comes at a critical juncture of the brutal war against the Gaza Strip. This war has exceeded the limits of all imagination and human conscience, and it has targeted more than 2.5 million Palestinians in Gaza through blockade, killing, displacement, and starvation. It is an unprecedented humanitarian disaster in our recent times. This catastrophe is inflicted on a daily basis against our brothers and sisters in Gaza and in the West Bank as they wait in line, waiting for a morsel of bread or waiting for humanitarian assistance that barely fulfills a minimal need. The children who are being killed on a daily basis represent a turning point and damning evidence against what used to be known as the rules of justice and equity in a world that no longer knows other than the language of force, a world that applies a double standard, but in fact, 100 standards. The world is silent out of fear or interests. The death distribution mechanism adopted by the occupying power to satiate the hungry has become an embodiment of the futility of international efforts in this dark phase of human history. I believe that this conference today is not only for sake of coordinating international positions to address the humanitarian crisis in the occupied Palestinian territory, including Gaza, the West Bank, and East Jerusalem, but in fact, it goes beyond that to achieve two main things. One, the collective efforts to address the root causes of this crisis through revival of the two-state solution as the only means to end the conflict and to establish regional security. The second is that entrenching this illegal occupation that deprives the people of their land and that imposes a new demography and will only lead to more killing, destruction, hatred in the region and in the world. Your Excellencies, in these dark circumstances, I can only stress the need to reach a permanent ceasefire, to pave the way to discuss post-war arrangements. Most important among these arrangements is the fulfillment of the international community of its moral duty to rebuild the Gaza Strip as per the Arab Islamic plan for early recovery and reconstruction. Egypt intends to implement this plan through convening very soon a regional conference on reconstruction as soon as a ceasefire in Gaza is achieved. In addition, it is important to support the Palestinian Authority so that it can perform its role in the Gaza Strip and in the West Bank. This will be the seed for de-escalation in our regional environment and will pave the way for a negotiation process. The Israeli aggression, the brutal aggression, has proven two facts. The first is that a security approach to alleviate or address the situation or through military oppression has proven its failure, and that it is incapable of providing security to the people of the region, including the Palestinian and the Israeli peoples. The second fact is that the explosion of the circumstances in Palestine will affect stability in the region as a whole. And accordingly, the Palestinian question, as Cairo has repeatedly stressed, and all Arabs, despite the denial of some, the question of Palestine remains the central issue in the Middle East, and there is no means to evade this fact. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Egypt appreciates and is joined in this appreciation by the states who have recognized a Palestinian state, that there is no alternative to the aspirations of the Palestinian state, the Palestinian people. These aspirations are led by freedom of occupation and the establishment of an independent state that is congruent and that is viable on the borders of 1967, with East Jerusalem as its capital. This is in line with UN resolutions, international law, and the Arab Peace Initiative, and based on the two-state solution within a comprehensive and fair settlement. The recognition of Palestine is not only a symbolic measure, it is an effective and important step in order to confront the Israeli attempts to liquidate the Palestinian question through annexation and destruction. It is a right of the Palestinian people. It is an inalienable right connected directly to the right to self-determination. In this context, allow me to applaud the states that have recognized the state of Palestine and who are taking the right side of history. And I would like to personally commend the brave decision of President Emmanuel Macron to recognize the state of Palestine. And I call on the states that have not yet recognized the state of Palestine to announce this recognition and to take serious measures towards the two-state solution and to enforce international law and support the full membership of the Palestinian state at the United Nations. Mr. President, as we face grave challenges, we call on you to support the following measures. First, supporting the efforts to end the aggression against Gaza and to reach a deal for a ceasefire and an exchange of hostages and prisoners and unhindered humanitarian access. Second, enabling the United Nations and the UNRWA agency to operate in Gaza. Third, supporting the efforts of the Palestinian Authority and allowing it to return to Gaza in order to guarantee the unity of Palestinian territory. Fourth, supporting the efforts to implement the Arab Islamic plan for early recovery and reconstruction in Gaza and providing the necessary means in order for Gaza to be viable once again, and working in order to end the systemic violations of Israel in Gaza, including the policies of annexation and settlements. Finally, creating a political prospect and launching a negotiation process in order to reach a just and lasting peace and to implement the two-state solution and end the Israeli occupation of occupied Arab territory. Egypt stresses the need for Israel to commit to withdrawal from the territory it has occupied on the 4th of June 1967 and end its unilateral measures, most important of which is the settlement as per international law and international humanitarian law, Security Council resolutions, taking into consideration that the Israeli policy of creating a new reality on the ground fully undermines the establishment of a Palestinian state and the two-state solution that is recognized by the international community as a basis for resolving the Israeli-Arab conflict. In conclusion, I would like to reiterate that the coexistence of the people in the region and the cooperation in the region is a dream we all share. And Egypt has worked towards this dream through its peace treaty with Israel in 1979. However, this dream will not become a reality so long as the attempts of using force and imposing a reality in these relations by Israel continues. And the chaos and the impunity in the Middle East, which justifies for Israel its actions and its crimes, our goals will not be achieved except through respect for international law, justice, and equity. I call on you to cooperate in order to change this dark and painful reality in the region and to build on the outcome of this conference in order to achieve a comprehensive and just peace for all people in the region. Thank you very much.